I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea from this video. Like, I don't want anyone to think that, like, to take this the wrong way. I feel like everyone is being affected by the coronavirus that's going around, whether it be you actually have it, rather it be you lost your job, like you're worried about losing your job. Like, I feel like everyone is affected, may not be affected in the same way as another person, but I feel like everyone is affected by this and we all handle it in a different way. So for me, I know I've been stressing a lot, and I was already stressing before, and so the situation itself is adding a lot more stress on top of me, like to the point where I was like thinking of quitting my job because I was scared to like get the virus from going in, or I was scared that I was just gonna lose my job anyways. I just decided not to. I said, Mariana, calm down. You have a hobby. And luckily for me, I love to read. And so one thing I did was I started reading apocalyptic books, and I don't know why what brought me to read it, but it helped me out so much. And I learned that just me reading while I'm stressed or anxious just helps me out so much. So today I have created a list for you of apocalyptic books that you can read, and book like dystopian books, like this popular dystopian books, and then books I plan on being reading. So it's kind of a recommendations video, but also just like recommendations, books that I plan to read, and like books you could read that I haven't really read yet. So the first book that I want to recommend to you guys is Pestilence by Laura Talisa. And so this book is about the four horsemen of the apocalypse who come, and obviously they're like coming to like end the world and like bring sickness and war and like all of those. And the apocalypse already started when the book happened. So the firefighters are drawing sticks, and the main character, she's a girl, she's a firefighter, and she draws the short end of the stick. So that means she has to stay behind and kill him. So she tries to kill him, and he's like, girl, I'm immortal, I don't die, like everybody has tried to kill me and I'm still here, so girl, like, what are you doing? And she's like, dang, like, and he kidnaps her. Basically, he takes her hostage, and they travel the world and get people the plague together. Well, not necessarily, like they don't, like she's like against it. She's like, they like fall in love, and she's like, shouldn't I be against this? Like, why am I like why do I love him so much? He's evil, he's giving people sickness, he's killing off humans. And he's just like, I'm here to do what I'm here to do, sis. You want to be with me or not? He's very possessive in this book, which I love. Like, you guys know I love possessive and jealous guys. Like, there's a scene where he's like, marry me, and she's like, no. And he's like, well, then I'm just gonna have to tie you to my horse until you feel like you should. And I was like, that is so romantic. We all know that I'm crazy, basically. The next book I want to recommend to you is Praying for Rain by B.B. Easton. And this book is, the apocalypse is supposed to come in 3 days. And it's weird because it's kind of like back in 2012 when everyone thought the world was going to end because of the Mayan calendar. It's kind of like that, where everyone thinks the world is going to end on like April 23rd, and like it's like April 20th. So there's 3 days until the world supposedly is ending. And they think that the four horsemen of the apocalypse is coming because everyone keeps having these like nightmares of it. So that's what they think is gonna happen. I like this book. It was like enemies to lovers. He kind of kidnaps her too. The main character kind of kidnaps her. The main character isn't like a four horseman or anything. He's just like this guy who found this bunker thingy when he was younger, so he's back to look for her, and he runs across this girl, and he's like, I want to save her. And the only thing I didn't like about this book was the fact that this all happens in 3 days, and they end up falling in love with each other. And so over the course of the book, it seems like it's normal, like, you know, they don't fall in love in the beginning or anything, they fall in love in the end. But then you sit there and you realize, like, this really only took place in 3 days. Like, they really fell in love super, super fast. So I feel like if she would have had this like a month before, a week before, no, 2 weeks before at least, like after, well, the second book takes place after, I haven't started yet, just because I was like, dang, this is kind of, it wasn't really instant love because they didn't fall in love instantly. They kind of did. He was so intrigued by her. And like, there are some things in like romance books that I just hate, like when a character doesn't know this person, like he's so intrigued by her but they never talk, but he's just so intrigued by like her beauty. And I'm like, okay. So the next book I have is a graphic novel, and this will have to be Scooby-Doo Apocalypse. I read this graphic novel when I was first joining the community, and y'all, actually, no, not this community. I was like really into comic books. Like I was a huge comic book nerd. Like DC comics, Marvel comics. Like I used to watch all the comic YouTubers. And so I found this YouTuber who did these comic books. I couldn't afford them. So I found a YouTuber who kind of like did the comic books like on as a YouTube video, and I'll try to find it. I never finished it, but I thought it was so interesting because it was basically, you know, Scooby-Doo and the Apocalypse, but the gang didn't know each other. Like they were meeting each other as they go along. So I thought that was cool. I think one of my favorite things about Scooby-Doo is the fact that they grew up together and like they all knew each other. Like even in like the remake, seeing them meet as teenagers, or in the original movie, the live action movie, where you see them like in a flashback, like being together when they were younger. Like I like that aspect of it, but I kind of like them meeting when they're older and they already have like personalities and things established. And I never finished it, but it was a new spin on Scooby-Doo, and if you know me, you know I am absolutely obsessed with Scooby-Doo. So the next books I want to recommend are books that I haven't read yet, but I don't know, I feel like they will be good books. So Dread Nation, I had started, but I don't think I'll be finishing it, just because I'm not really into like YA at the moment, and and it doesn't take place during slavery, but it kind of does. Like they use the word Negro a lot, which obviously I don't mind. Like it's not something I'm like not used to or anything, but it's just like I believe it takes place during slavery time, and I just don't really want to read about that right now. Like I don't mind. Like I'm gonna read it eventually, but just right now, I don't want to think about that on top of the apocalypse could possibly happen. Which I mean I know it won't, but a girl can only wish, you know. Do you know how cool that would be to tell my kids I lived during the apocalypse? Well, if the apocalypse happened, I probably wouldn't live that long. Like, I don't think I would die immediately, but I don't think that I would, like, live that long. The next book I want to recommend is The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. I haven't started this book. Well, I started the book. It's written in third person. Second person. I do want to warn people. And that's one thing that really intrigued me. I listened to the audiobook of You by Caroline Kepnes, and that's when I was like, I actually really like this perspective. It's really interesting. I didn't find it confusing, but when I read The Fifth Season, I really like it was confusing to me, and not because of the second person. It was just confusing in general. Like it literally throws you in as like the apocalypse is about to happen. Like you start off the story with the main character, two children being dead, and I believe the father killed them. So you start off with like a wham, and it was really hard for me to read it, but I feel like now would be the perfect time to read it, and I honestly can't wait. Another book would have to be Life as We Knew It. I forget who the author is, but it's a really popular book. I mean, obviously the picture will go here, but it's a really popular like apocalypse book. Like I want to say January, February. I was really into like apocalyptic stuff because I watched this show. I forget what it was called, but it was like an apocalyptic show with like teenagers, and I thought it was so good. It was a trashy show. It was trash. Like when I first watched it, I was like, this makes sense as to why no one watched this show and why it only got one season. But by the end of it, I was like, I don't understand why it's only had one season. Like I could see this being like a really big show. So after that show, I was like really into, you know, getting my apocalyptic fix with like, you know, teenagers. But now I'm kind of really not into reading about that. Like I think I would really read it. Like Pestilence and Praying for Rain and The Fifth Season are all adult books. And even Scooby-Doo Apocalypse, like that's Scooby-Doo like in an adult. So I think I would like it more in an adult setting rather than like a teenage setting. But Life as We Knew It takes place with a girl, her mom, and her sister, I believe. And I think a meteor hits, and they're just trying to like, you know, live life and like get used to these things. And Angel Fall, which I forget who the name of the author is, but this one is kind of the same thing where it's like a sister and a girl, and it's basically the angels descend to destroy the earth basically, and one of the guys is like a falling angel, and he's like the love interest, and they're like, I just find it interesting that they're on two different like spectrums. Like there's like the human and like the angel that's supposed to destroy. I actually really like that. Like Pestilence, one thing I really enjoyed was that he was supposed to like destroy the earth and like she's a human, so obviously she wants Earth to be safe, she wants her friends and her family to be safe. So I think that that aspect is like very interesting. And then I want to recommend some dystopian books. Well, I don't want to really recommend them because honestly I haven't read any dystopian books. Like, I did not read dystopian books when they were popular. I read Unwind by Neil Schusterman, which I loved my 11th grade year. Like, I was forced to read it, obviously, so I loved it when I read it my 11th grade year. And I never read Divergent, but I mean, Divergent would be a good time to read it. I think I'm gonna read The Darkest Minds, which I didn't really. It's like I've been planning on reading The Darkest Mind, but I had no reason to read it, so now I kind of do. I think I want to do like a buddy read of it or like a group read of it. So if you guys want to do that, let me know. Oh my gosh, it'll be so fun to do like a Discord or a like group chat on Twitter for one, just to like help us all keep our mind off of things that's going on right now. I think that would be really, really interesting. What's another one? The Hunger Games, which everyone has read The Hunger Games. So yeah, those are my apocalyptic book recommendations. Oh, Dread Nation, and like apocalypse, post-apocalyptic, and if you want a post-apocalyptic TV show or pre-apocalyptic TV show, because the apocalypse hasn't happened yet, but Umbrella Academy by Funko Pop #5. That's from the Umbrella Academy. I highly recommend that you watch that TV show. It's about these siblings who are superheroes. Basically, one day all these women end up just getting pregnant, like just having babies. Like, they were never pregnant, they just got pregnant and then they had a baby. And so this guy comes and he's like, let me have your baby. And they're like, I don't know where the baby comes from, take it. Well, not all of them, maybe 7 of them. Okay, 7. So he takes the 7 children and he raises them as siblings, and they all have superpowers, but not all of them. But yeah, and he just raises them as siblings, and then when they grow up, they're like 30 and he dies. So it's not a teenage show. Only like one of the characters is the teenagers, and that's #5, and he's like 13, but he's like, he time jumps and like ends up in the future when everyone else is kids, and then when the dad dies he like comes back. It's very confusing, but yeah, so they're all like adults, so that's what I really liked about it too. But they're like holding on to their trauma from their dad because their dad was crappy. And I'm like, y'all, just let it go, grow up, you are 30, stop holding on to this trauma, get some therapy. But I love this show so much, and the characters and the siblingship and the fact that it's pre-apocalyptic. So yeah, that's it for this video. I really liked giving these recommendations. If you want to see more like apocalyptic thing videos, or just videos to help you get your mind off of what's going on, like, I definitely wouldn't mind uploading more, just because I feel like everyone is stressed out about it. Everyone, unless you're like not stressed about it, but me, as I mentioned in every video, I'm a Virgo. I stress about everything. I have a plan for everything, apocalypse included. So yeah, but I wasn't prepared for something like this to happen. Like, usually I'm like, you know, like for people to just, everyone just be losing their jobs, and just, I just wasn't prepared. And like, I am still working, thankfully, and so is my mom, and like the people in my household were all luckily still working. But I know there are people out there who have lost their jobs, and I just want to say that I'm sorry to everyone. Whether you know someone who's sick, you're sick, you lost your job, you know, you're going to lose your job. I hope that these book recommendations help you, and I hope that it helps you keep your mind off of things and to calm you down, because I know when I'm stressed, and I know when I'm stressed, I like to read because I like to keep my mind off of like what's going on, because that's just how I work. So if you are that kind of person who needs to distract yourself, I hope that these books help you. And then if you want another book recommendation video where I don't even recommend apocalyptic books, but just books to, you know, that helped me out during stressful times, I can definitely do that. I have so many recommendations videos planned for you guys. I really don't mind. Like, as long as you don't mind, I don't mind. So yeah, thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And please stay safe.